It's been a busy couple of months in the world of Star Trek, and this is the first time that I'm making one of these videos where there is a live-action Star Trek series going on. But we're not going to be talking about Star Trek Discovery today because this video is probably going to be too long as it is, and we don't really want to get into the whole why do the Klingons look like xenomorphs, and so instead we're going to transport ourselves back to a happier time, when Klingons looked the way they're supposed to, and cadets didn't randomly drop F-bombs for no clear reason, and the entirety of Starfleet wasn't okay with exploiting a living creature for its new transport. Deep breaths. Okay, so, we are on another one of the Eaglemoss Starship collections. Now, this series started back in 2012, would you believe it? I think 2011 in other parts of the world. And it's still going strong. I think this is issue 106, 7? I don't know. A quick note about this one. I don't have the magazine to show you today for a couple of reasons. One, it is extremely sparse, even more so than normal. And two, I can't remember where the bloody hell I put the damn thing. In hindsight, it's probably more to do with point number 2 than point number 1, but that means we can just get straight on with the model, and we're not doing any of that fanning about of flicking through pages and looking at the bloody box and all that nonsense. I know a lot of reviewers do that, and I know a lot of people do want to see it, but I don't see the appeal. I really don't. Anyway, so, we're going to take this off its little stand, because the focus is a bit iffy today, so I'm going to try my best to keep this. There we go. So this is the, oh no, I need to try and pronounce this now, don't I? Ahwahnee? Ahwahnee? No, there's no. However this is pronounced, I'm really not good with that. So this is a Cheyenne Class Starship, and it's sort of, I guess, a TNG successor to the Constellation class. You've got the same sort of 4 nacelle kind of layout, and then you've got a Tng Style Saucer. Now, because of how the nacelles are laid out, and it uses the double neck, both sides use the underside of the Galaxy class Starship, because they need that connector. So it does just look a bit, it looks a bit more off than some of the other Starship designs that we have to look at. But, I mean, even so, it's an interesting design. This is another one of the Wolf 359 Starships. We've already looked at the USS Kyushu, which is a fascinating model, and if you haven't seen that already, there'll be an annotation kicking about somewhere. Despite the simplicity and the clearly rushed-together nature of it, it does work. I think that's sort of kudos to the overall design of the Galaxy class, that you can basically just chop it to bits, stick it back together again in whatever configuration you like, and it still looks pretty damn fine. So, details on the model. Overall, it is quite detailed, but, I mean, it has a certain latitude that it can get away with, for the simple fact that the model, again, was only seen for, what, a fraction of a second on the finalised episode as wreckage, so, you know, they can get away with quite a lot on this. Even so, there's a detailing on all the nacelles, the registry and the name. You've got all the windows painted in, and obviously you've kind of got duplication because, again, both sides of the hull are essentially symmetrical. The only difference being that it's only got the registry on this side and it has the registry and the name on this one. Bit odd to have the name down here, because most of these ships you expect them up here, but obviously because they've got detailing up here, that can't happen. There are a couple of little bits and pieces, the main one being that the impulse engines are not coloured in at all, neither on the saucer nor what I presume is a third one in the middle, although it's not explicitly stated on either the statistics in the magazine or, well, anywhere really, because again, this was something that was rushed together for a background scene. I presume that these are supposed to be shuttle bays, because obviously the ones on the neck are absent, and there's nowhere else on the saucer for them to go because the normal sort of bridge module where the shuttle bay would normally be isn't there because it would crash into a neck section. So that would be the most logical thing for them to be. Interesting point about this particular model and how the actual model was done. The nacelles are unique to this particular model for the simple fact that they're not nacelle engines. They are well, they were highlighter pens that were coloured in. Quite why they did that, I'm not really sure, because for the components that they would have needed, they would obviously have had those nacelles to hand, because 2 necks and 2 halves of the underside of the saucer, they would have had 2 nacelles per kit, so they could have just stuck those on. Well, maybe there's something circumstantial, like, I don't know, an intern lost them or something, but it is odd all the same. I don't have a great deal to say about this because, again, it's one of those background models that was used very sparingly. Oh, no. Yeah, so... no breakages this time. Woo! Yeah, that is a running theme in the models that I have, that they are in not great condition. That's quite a nice angle, actually, looking at that from the viewfinder. So yes, basically I'm trying to get all of the kit bashers, essentially, because they're quite interesting models, and I think the Challenger class is the next one coming up, so that should hopefully be what we get soon. And I'm hoping to do some of the Klingon Starship models as well, because I've found a new appreciation for those, having recently rewatched TNG. Yeah, as a model, this overall worked. I don't know why they never used this again. Well, presumably because it was heavily battle damaged, but I mean, as an actual model goes, this works. This completely works. You know, I mean, obviously it's cobbled together, but, you know, with a few minor tweaks, this could happily, you know, take a bit more of a starring role. It's a shame we never really saw this design or any of the other ones crop up again, because it is quite cool. Seriously, why do the Klingons look like that now?